This is absolutely crazy. So there's this one freshman in high school, and his parents are out of town for the week. Well, instead of playing Xbox every day after school, he does something absolutely insane. He builds an actual wrestling ring in his backyard. I'm talking wood frame, ropes, the whole thing. And at school, he starts telling people, every day after school, my house, wrestling matches, $2 to get in. And for the first few days after school, it's just a couple of kids messing around. But then it started getting serious. One kid begins managing fighters and training them. Another's making poster for the big fight on Friday. People are putting money down. They're making actual bets, and these fighters are training all week. Well, by Thursday and Friday, it's not just this backyard thing anymore. Half the school is showing up. There's bets being placed, referees with whistles. It's absolutely insane. Well, finally Friday is the big fight, and it is beautiful. Until this kid's dad comes home and sees what's going on. What the heck is going on here? Oh my god! And the whole thing was shut down instantly. But those who went to that school never forgot the week of backyard wrestling. That's kind of crazy. So it's this kid's birthday party. And his mom lets her sister, his aunt, make the cake since she's a baker. Well, everyone gathers around and the aunt brings out the cake. Well, the lid comes off and it says, "Happy birthday, Kyle and Jason." Kyle's the birthday kid. Jason isn't. Jason is his aunt's son, his cousin. The mom's like, "Are you serious? Why is your kid's name on my son's cake?" And the aunt shrugs. "It's fine. They can share. They can blow out the candles together." Absolutely not. This is his birthday, not your son's. So what happened was Kyle's cousin Jason was incredibly spoiled, and he couldn't stand to be at another kid's birthday party. He had to make it about him as well. Well, the two sisters start arguing in front of the entire party, and everybody is incredibly uncomfortable. It looks like they're about to start throwing hands, when finally Kyle's mom says, "You know what? Take your cake and your spoiled kid and leave my frickin' house." The aunt storms out with the cake, and 10 minutes later, the dad comes in with a cake from Walmart, and the birthday party was saved. But the mom still hasn't talked to her sister since then. For real though, who would think that's okay? So every day during class, she made her students sit in a circle, and they had to confess something they felt guilty about. It was called the guilt circle. She said it helped build trust, but it felt more like public humiliation. Every morning, right after the bell rang, one by one, share something you regret, something you're hiding, a dark secret. And if you really couldn't think of anything, she would say, "That's fine, but you're going twice tomorrow." It would be stuff like, "I ate my sister's Halloween candy. I cheated on a vocab quiz." But after a while, that wasn't good enough for her. She wanted them to go deeper. "I spread a horrible rumor about my friend. I took money from my mom's purse, and she loved it." Oh, why do you think you did that? Do you think she knows? Day after day, week after week, this is how things went down. Until one day a kid stood up and said, "You know what, Mrs. Keller, you should feel guilty. You make us say this stuff in front of you and all of our classmates, and then I bet you go laugh about it in the teacher's lounge." The whole room froze. She didn't say anything. And I guess that was all it took, because the next day, the guilt circle stopped. For real though, that is super messed up and completely unacceptable. This is my house and my rules. This one dad ran his house like a frickin' business. Instead of allowance, there was a chore system. Every Sunday night, he'd post a list on the fridge. Vacuuming, dishes, mowing, even stuff like wiping down the baseboards. "All right, kids, this is your work week. Everything must be done by Friday." And here's the catch. If something wasn't done, or it was done poorly, you would owe him $5. And no, they weren't losing allowance. They didn't get an allowance. They would actually owe him $5. So Friday after work, he would come into the house. He had a clipboard, and he would check every single thing that he put on the chore list. The bedroom trash can was still full. There was grass clippings all over the yard. That's $10 total. Didn't matter if you had a job or not. If you were in debt that Friday night, you had the weekend to figure it out, or else. One of his kids ended up mowing 3 neighbors' yards. Another one was begging for shifts at the local ice cream shop. "Hey, can I please work a few hours today?" Who are you? And if you didn't pay him by Sunday night, he would start taking stuff. Game controllers, headphones, even his kids' bikes. There was no limit. And that has to be the craziest thing I've heard in a long time. "Come here, idiot." "Not you again." Every single day at lunch, this same bully would walk by this kid. He would slam his lunch tray down and laugh. "Oops, my bad. I guess you're eating off the floor again." The kid would just pick it up, He would try not to cause a scene, but it kept happening every single day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, finally this kid had enough. He snapped. One day he showed up to lunch with a shiny metal lunchbox. It looked normal and nobody thought twice. But inside the lunchbox were 2 heavy bricks. The thing was heavy, but he was carrying it around like it was normal. So here comes the bully. He's smirking. Ha, hey, let me help you with your new lunchbox, lunch boy. Oh, okay. And just like every other day, the bully smacks the lunchbox. But right as the bully's hand hits the lunchbox, the kid lets go right above the bully's foot. My toe! I think it's broken. Oops, my bad. And the bully's toe was broken, but it was his own fault. After that day, he did not mess with this kid ever again. Yeah, good. This is so freaking cool. So it was fall, and a couple kids, they decide to make a backyard carnival. Obviously, it was nothing official. Just some old toys, a plastic table, and whatever junk they could find. One kid stacked some soup cans on a chair. Knock them down, you win a prize. The other kid taped a bucket to the fence. 3 throws for 1 quarter. But then they got creative. Somebody dragged over a busted wagon and tied it to a bike. And suddenly it was a roller coaster. You ready, bro? Get in. I'm in, man. Let's go. All right. This is awesome! Another kid tied a tire to a tree branch, and there you had it, a swing. They did it just for them at first, like a fun way to spend the afternoon. But then kids from the block started to show up. Yo, what is this? It's a carnival, bro. Come on. By the end of the day, the entire backyard was packed, and a ton of kids in the neighborhood were bringing their own stuff over. It was insane. Candy, prizes, homemade rides. Parents were even showing up, like, what the heck is happening back here? But they loved it. They thought it was super creative. It wasn't professional, it wasn't safe. But for that one day, that backyard was a freaking carnival, baby, and that's awesome. Every day this kid would come home with bruises and cuts, and his mom would always ask, "Oh my God, sweetie, what happened to you?" "Oh, just football, Mom. It's rough." But here's the truth. It wasn't from football. After school, there was this fight club that was in somebody's garage who lived near the school. It wasn't just like 1 or 2 kids. It was like 30 of them. They would gather at this guy's garage, they would circle up, and they would throw down. And here's the thing. The guy that hosted this, his parents worked late, so they were never home after school. All right, gather in. Round 1. Martouche and Kenny. You ready? Let's rock, Salmon Man. And they weren't going easy on each other either. It was insane. There was split lips, busted teeth, and what's the rule of Fight Club? You know it. Nobody talked about it outside of this circle. So every night this kid would walk back in his house, beat up, bloody, and he would say the same thing. "Football practice, Mom. It was rough, but it was never football." That's insane. This kid's stepdad worked for Coca-Cola, and because of that, there was a rule in their house. No Pepsi products, ever. Not in the fridge, not at restaurants, and not at birthday parties. If they were out to dinner, "Yeah, I'll take a Coke with my chicken tenders." "I'm sorry, we only have Pepsi products." "Yeah, no, pack it up. We are leaving. We're going somewhere else, kids." "But my chicken tenders." "I said we're going somewhere else." Even when they were hosting parties at their house, if any of their guests came with Pepsi products, pour it out or throw it away. Those are not allowed in this house. I understand some people have a preference between Pepsi and Coke, but this just went a little too far. That dad sounds insane. At this school during lunch, milk cartons were free, and they were all just sitting on this table. So one day, these 3 fifth graders, they stockpiled 20 milk cartons, shoving them in their backpacks, in their pockets, up their sleeve, and they take them out to recess. They walk over to the brick wall on the side of the building, and they just start chucking the milk cartons against the wall. Yeah, milk! The milk cartons are exploding, milk is spraying everywhere, a crowd gathers. Kids are cheering, they're watching this like it's a frickin' sporting event. Well, that's when somebody says, "Yo, the principal, he's coming!" Oh crap. The 3 milk chuckers put their hoods up and they just disappear into the crowd. The vice gets there. All right, who did this? And it was instant snitching, names and details. The principal immediately starts searching for these kids. And there were close calls, but these guys were really sneaky. Hiding against benches, behind trees, in the slide. Somehow, they never get caught, and the rest of the day is a frickin' mission. At lunch, the principal and the vice principal are posted at the table that these kids usually sit at. Oh crap, he's right there. Let's eat in the band room. Milk! That entire day they managed to escape the wrath of the principal. And when school was over, they went home. But the craziest part is, some random kid cleaned up the milk wall by himself, just because he wanted to. When the principal went out and asked him why he was doing this, "Why are you doing this?" "Because it's the right thing to do." That's legendary. Mr. Donnelly was the new history teacher. Perfectly combed hair, crisp tie, he was very well put together. Then one day, one kid finds him on a bodybuilding website. Apparently, Mr. Donnelly used to compete in bodybuilding competitions. Well, he saw this picture of him, spray tan, oiled up, posing like a bodybuilder, and his bodybuilding name was Titan Steel. Well, this kid tells a bunch of people in his class. And the next morning, "Good morning, class, how are we doing today?" "Good morning, Titan Steel." He's shocked. "Excuse me?" "Oh, sorry, Mr. Donnelly." And by lunch, everybody knew Mr. Donnelly's secret. "Hey, Mr. Steel, you gonna bench the vending machine?" "What you got for lunch today, Titan? A bunch of chicken breasts and protein powder?" Oh my god. And he's hearing it all day, every day, whispers of Titan Steel this, Titan Steel that. By January, he freaking snaps. "If one more person says that name, I am quitting Titan Steel." The next day, he was gone and there was a sub. He actually quit that job. I guess he would rather be unemployed than be Titan Steel. Wow, that's absolutely insane. So this school was doing Spirit Week. You know, Pajama Day, Wacky Wednesday, stuff like that. Well, on Wacky Wednesday, this one kid showed up in a full suit of armor. Boots, gloves, gauntlets, the whole thing, 3 layers, night helmet. It was epic. And the school let him keep it on. Well, after second period, these 3 8th graders, who were the school bullies, decided to make fun of him. "Hey, nice outfit, Tin Man. What you got under there?"
Yeah, nice outfit, metal boy.
Well, he's just standing there, not saying a word. The bullies didn't like this, so they start to attack him. "What's your problem, dude?" "Yeah, what's your problem?" One punches his shoulder, his hand is shaking, it might be broken. Some kid kicks him in the groin, his foot is hurting. And the third one, big guy, punches his knee and literally breaks his wrist. Ow! My foot! My foot! My wrist, guys? Guys, my wrist. It's broken. It's broken. Principal shows up and calls it a school fight. The kid in the armor gets suspended for a week, even though he did not touch any of them. He literally just stood there in his knight armor that the school let him wear. And the bullies, they didn't get in trouble at all. And that, my friends, is messed up. So it was senior prank season, and this one might have been the most beautiful senior prank this school has ever seen. It's the last week of school, and the seniors show up. They've got a ladder, a few backpacks, and they're carrying bags upon bags of something. How much you get? 30 pounds. You're kidding. Nope. 30 pounds of confetti. They sneak into the assembly hall where the school organ is. Now the school was about to have an assembly, and for some reason at every single assembly, the music teacher plays the organ. Now it's a giant old organ with these large pipes, and these pipes stretch up to the ceiling. With the ladder set up, they climb up, and they start pouring confetti straight down each of the organ's pipes. And not just a little confetti, pounds of it, until pretty much every pipe is stuffed. Well, only one teacher is in on it, and that's the music teacher. He gave them the green light because that old organ was being thrown out anyway. But nobody else knows about this, okay? So, 2 hours later, the whole school is crammed in for this assembly. The principal gives his speech, and then the organist starts playing. Whoosh! A cloud of confetti blasts into the air like fireworks while this beautiful organ music is playing. With each note, another explosion of confetti goes off. And now it's like a blizzard. Students are cheering. They're trying to catch it. It's beautiful! But the teachers are really confused. Oh my god, what's happening? What's happening? The principal's standing there looking around like the ceiling just collapsed. Meanwhile, the music teacher is just calmly playing the organ while this crazy storm is happening. It's a beautiful sight. By the end, the floor is covered in confetti, the seats are all buried, and the seniors are just looking around like, wow, we did that. And that was it. That organ never played another note, but that prank went down in school history. When she was in second grade, her older sister got glasses, and instantly she wanted a pair of glasses as well. So she told her parents.
I can't see the board at school.
So they take her to the eye doctor. He does a test, and she's pretending like she can't see. 2 minutes in, he says, yeah, she's lying. She can see fine. but her parents still believed her. And they're like, no, you better give her some glasses. He writes a prescription, and just like that, a week later, her glasses are ready. At first, she loved them, even though she couldn't really see in them because, well, she lied during that test. But she loved the frames, she loved the attention she was getting, but she kept wearing them for years. And her eyes kept adjusting to the prescription, and the prescription kept getting stronger and stronger. We'll flash forward 10 years, and now every day she wears a pair of the thickest glasses because she actually can barely see without them now. And she's pretty sure it's because back in 2nd grade, she lied when taking the eye test, and she ruined her eyesight forever. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. So this kid gets yelled at for not turning in math homework. Teacher goes, you'll never make it in the real world like this. And the kid said, I'm not trying to make it in your world. The class laughs, the teacher's annoyed. Well, here's the thing. This kid's been working with his cousin on buying and fixing up old vending machines. They would then stock it and put it places. By senior year, he's got a handful of these vending machines. And he's pulling more money from these machines than most people make at full-time jobs. And it reminded me of this book I read, 5 Types of Wealth. It'll help you rethink how you're living your life and how you're spending your time. And what this book goes over will lead to success and happiness in multiple areas of your life. I promise. This girl's parents were so strict. They banned birthdays at their house. No cake, no candles, no parties. So on her 13th birthday, her friends found out. Wait, so you never had a birthday party ever? Nope, never. They were stunned. That is so messed up. You know what? Tomorrow night, we're throwing you one. One of them's house was the perfect spot. A huge backyard, a pool, lights were already strung up for vibes, and they spread the word. By sundown the next day, the backyard was packed. Music blasting, kids cannonballing in the pool. The girl who was hosting the party's parents were there just to keep everyone safe, but they were just sitting back relaxing. Everyone was even chanting her name when she walked in. Marissa, Marissa, happy birthday, Marissa. And for the first time ever, she had a birthday cake with real candles in it. And right as she blew out those candles, there they were. She saw her parents walk into the backyard. Everyone got silent. What is this? Her friend stepped in. Hey, she deserves this. It's her 13th birthday. Her parents looked around and there was dozens of people just staring at them. They were uncomfortable, so they just said, all right, well, we'll pick you up here at 10, okay? 10 p.m. And they left. But still, that was the birthday that she would never, ever forget. Black Markets Kids Ran in Their Schools Part 22. This one was sent to me by a follower. In high school, he was on the yearbook team. That meant he had a yearbook pass, which allowed him to roam the schools and leave school grounds during his yearbook period. And that period was right before lunch. So every day he took food orders for more than 20 students. He would go pick up the food, bring it back to school, and charge them the cost of the order plus $2. It wasn't much, but he was making a couple $100s a month. The best part is the security guard caught on to what he was doing, and he had to pay the security guard a small fee to stay quiet. One day, this kid bought a bunch of clear iPhone cases for cheap, and he had this friend who was good with graphic design. So what he would do is he would have his friend make this cool design of whatever he wanted. His friend would then print it and cut it down so it would fit perfectly inside this phone case. And it looked awesome. Clear phone case, this graphic design insert, it was legit. Custom fit, looked expensive. He did it to his phone case first. It was an anime design and it looked awesome. People saw this and they were immediately intrigued. Well, interest grew. And soon, he was taking orders for people. NBA, anime, SpongeBob, Shrek. He was making these custom phone cases and selling them. Then he starts bundling them together. 3 phone cases for $10, 6 for $15. And business was absolutely booming. He kept buying these clear phone cases. His friend kept designing these designs and custom cutting them to fit the cases. And people were buying them. They were all over the school. The thing was, his friend that was designing these and printing them was using the school's printers. The IT guy realized how much printing had been done, and he told the principal. And this whole thing had to be shut down. But by then, he had made $530. And those phone cases became collectibles. Some students even reselling them for 3 times the price they bought them for. Honestly, you gotta respect the hustle. Recess used to be the best part of the day, but this school ruined it. It started after one kid tripped during freeze tag. The kid hit his head, and the school banned running.
You guys can still play tag, okay? Just walking tag.
Walking tag? What the heck?
So the kids pushed through. They were power shuffling, they were speed walking, they were kind of like twirling around, they weren't running. Well, a girl pivoted too weirdly and she twisted her ankle. So then tag was banned. The kids were like, all right, Fine, let's switch to something else. So everyone began to jump rope. Well, as they were going around one day, the rope hit and smacked somebody in the eye, and she was pretty injured, I guess. Then jump ropes. They were banned. They tried catch, but one day the ball hit a teacher.
Ow! Hey, no more balls!
So they started tossing around pine cones, and then they had to stop doing that. So finally, one kid brings Uno. Surely this is gonna be fine. But one day they were having a pretty intense Uno game, and everyone began arguing, and it was almost a full-blown fist fight.
No, man, you are an absolute cheater. I didn't cheat, Steven. Screw you. You smell like crap.
That's it.
Uno and any other game like that was then banned as well. By spring, there was like nothing they can do. No balls, no ropes, no running, no cards, no pine cones. And at some point, it stopped being recess. It was just kids walking around aimlessly under adult supervision. No talking in groups, absolutely no messing around. They started calling it the yard, like a prison yard. And that's exactly what it looked like. I mean, come on. What's recess without a little risk? It's a slow Tuesday morning. This guy's working at the front of a bank. He's the security guard, and it's a fairly standard shift. Doop-ba-doop-ba-doo, I'm a security guard at the bank. Now, at a bank, most people come in, they do their thing, and then they leave. Well, one day, this guy came in, he was looking pretty sketchy. Walking in the bank. Oh, crap. He sees the security guard, and then he walks back outside. And the security guard is like, yo, this is kind of weird, so he kind of walks by the door. Well, this sus guy is pacing the sidewalk and he's on the phone. He's obviously stressed, and the security guard overhears just one sentence. Nuh-uh, man, I am not doing this crap. You said nothing about a security guard. I will not take him out. Then, for a second, they make eye contact, and they stare at each other for a short while. And he's gone. The bank reports the situation immediately, but nothing ever actually happened, so they couldn't really do anything about it. But the security guard knew one thing. That guy was definitely gonna rob the bank that day if he wasn't there. And that's crazy. This school's cafeteria food sucked. So this one school randomly decides that all the cafeteria food has to be low sodium, which really meant
This food tastes like cardboard.
Cardboard.
everything was bland. No pepper, no salt, no sauces, no ranch, no ketchup. Nothing was available to make this food any better. And soon enough, kids are straight up just skipping lunch. But this one kid, Jules, finds a way to beat the system. He goes to the store and he buys a packet of these tiny little hot sauces. Sriracha, there's Taco Bell fire sauce, mango habanero, and this strange green one that's just called the Monster. At first, he just shares it with his table, but then kids started offering him money for squeezes of these hot sauces.
$1 for 2 squeezes. No refunds.
Yeah, that's a pretty ridiculous price for 2 squeezes of a hot sauce, but like I said, the food was so freaking bland that people were doing anything to enjoy their lunch. And guess what? Business began booming. First day, he makes $8. The next day, he made $12. By Friday, he's got repeat customers, People are wanting hot sauce left and right. He's having to buy new batches.
Hey, what is that?
Well, not long after he started, a lunch lady caught him and sent him to the principal. And the entire thing was shut down. But the principal did tell him,
Hey, Jules, one more thing before you go to detention.
Yeah.
I respect your hustle.
and you gotta respect that he respected that kid's hustle.
This teacher is insane for this. This class had just finished reading Lord of the Flies in English, and the teacher? Oh, she was passionate, maybe too passionate. So after they had finished reading this Lord of the Flies, the next day she tells them this. Class, we are going into the woods tomorrow. Bring a backpack full of things. We're gonna live like the boys on the island. So next day they come with backpacks full of stuff and they head to the woods. No rules, no roles, just chaos. She hands them bandanas and points to the woods behind the school. All right, go. One teacher and 20 students, and these weren't just regular kids. Somebody brought a pillowcase full of flour and was whacking people with it. Another kid filled a spray bottle with perfume and was spraying in another kid's eyes, trying to blind them. Take that. Soon there was turf wars, alliances, groups getting ambushed. Kids were using mud as war paint. They were getting feral. And the teacher was just standing there at the edge of the woods watching this go down like it's some sort of social experiment. Yes. 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 And it went way too far. Kids were getting bloody noses, one person was throwing up profusely, I don't know why, and the teacher didn't get in trouble for this, not even like a warning or anything. The principal didn't even know about any of this until a parent called a couple days later, but he still did nothing. And the crazy part is, the next year, this teacher did the same exact thing. Honestly, that sounds kind of fun.
This kid shows up to second period and says, "Hey, what's up, guys? There was a deer stalking me in the parking lot." "Oh, what?" "Yeah, I was walking into the building and I look over and this deer is just looking at me from behind a tree. I walk a little farther and there he is at a different tree, still staring at me." So of course, everybody starts making fun of this kid. They're calling him Deer Boy this entire class, and he's like, "Guys, this is so dumb. I saw a deer." Whatever. Third period starts, and all of a sudden, throughout the entire hall, you hear a giant crash. Guess what it was? A deer literally jumped through one of the classroom windows. Not like near the window, like through it. What was that? What happened? A freaking deer jumped through the classroom window. It's still in the room. Oh my God, he's coming for me. It was an absolutely absurd moment. Nobody knows what to do because this deer's kind of freaking out in this classroom. They don't know what to do with it. Well, this one teacher shows up, Mr. Redding, and apparently Mr. Redding has had a lot of experience with deer. He somehow went in there, calmed it down, and walked it out of the school. "How'd you do that, Mr. Redding?" "Well, I had a pet deer once, and he was my best friend." And after that, everybody stopped calling this kid Deer Boy because obviously there was a deer near the school and it jumped through the window. I wonder if it was coming for him. That's kind of freaky. So this guy's at a crowded park and there's a bunch of food trucks set up. There's no tables, no benches. Everyone's just sitting and eating on this concrete wall. Well, there's only one open spot left, and he begins walking towards it. And as he gets closer to this wall, he sees this lady rushing towards it. And she's dressed pretty nice, like she just left church or something. She begins jogging, but he beats her there. He walks up to the wall, and right behind it, in the grass, is a huge pile of dog poop, right where your butt would be if you leaned back too much. So naturally, he decides not to sit down. And at that point, she storms up behind him and says,
Seriously? I was gonna sit there.
"Go ahead, have a seat." And she sits down. And then 2 seconds later, she screams. She stands up and this dog poop is smeared all over her back. Oh, she says to this guy,
Why didn't you say anything to me?
"I didn't know how you were gonna sit down. I thought you were just gonna perch on the ledge like a normal person." And she storms off furious. But like she did try to race him there. At this school, swimming class was mandatory. Twice a week, full swimsuit, no excuses. This was also in the 80s. Well, then bomb threats started to happen. And they were always during fourth period. Every time students were getting their suits on for swim class, the alarm would go off. Whole school evacuated, the cops would show up, dogs would come in sniffing around, and it kept happening at the same time every single week for like a month. Some teachers thought it was an actual threat. The principal was panicking, nobody knew what to do, but it was just one kid doing this. He didn't want to swim, he couldn't swim, he hated swimming, I don't know. So every swim day, he would leave school campus, walk down the street to the gas station, use the gas station payphone to call the school, and call in a fake bomb threat. Like no voice changer, it was his normal voice, and he would just say,
Yeah, there's a bomb at the school. You should probably check on that.
He was caught, suspended for 2 weeks, and had to retake swimming class that summer. And that is the craziest way anyone has ever skipped gym class. This is the best senior prank of all time. So at this one high school, nobody knew what the senior prank was going to be. Usually there's a warning or someone's leaked it, but this year nothing. But right after second period, the school's front door opens and enters a mariachi band. 5 guys, full suits, giant instruments, and they start following the principal everywhere. It's kind of awesome. He's just walking normal, checking things out. He's doing his job. He walks into a classroom mid-session, the band follows him in, the kids love it. By lunch, it's a full event. Kids got their phones out, they're filming him, they're following him around the hallways like a freaking parade, and the principal is eating this up. He thinks it's absolutely hilarious. And at the end of the day, the band leaves. And that was it. And nobody got in trouble because, let's be real, that was awesome. Like I said, brilliant senior prank. It's 7th grade and this kid Lucas brings a bunch of Costco gum to school. Tons of packs, every single flavor. And he never made a big deal about it, but he would pull them out here and there so that people could see. And naturally, they would ask for a piece of gum. And when they did, 50 cents. "Oh, I don't have any money right now." "Oh, that's fine. Pay me later." And that was his thing. At first people were like, he's not gonna ask for that money later, It's just a piece of gum. But that's where they were completely wrong. because after he would give someone a piece of gum and say, "Pay me later," he would pull out a tiny notebook and write down the debt in that notebook. Everybody had a tab, their name, their flavor, and how much they owed. But the thing is, he wanted this debt to grow. He would walk up to them. "Hey, so you still owe me from last week, but I just got this crazy new watermelon flavor. You want a piece? I'll just put it on your tab." And he just kept stacking debt on top of debt on top of debt, until finally he decided it was time to collect. He goes to the two biggest kids in class. "Carl? Mordecai? Yeah. I'll give you 10%. Here's the list. Get me my money." And they would go around school with the list. "Hey, you got Lucas's money? I'm here to collect." And these kids were big and intimidating, and people did pay him back. Lucas made like $175 before this whole thing was shut down. You gotta respect the hustle, I guess. A dirty pair of shoes changed his entire life. It started when this kid noticed something weird. Every single Friday, without fail, this one math teacher wore the same busted sneakers. Grimy, white New Balances that were definitely super stained. So one day during lunch, this 8th grader walks up to him. "You know I can clean those shoes for you, right?" "Eh? Be my guest." So they go to his classroom, he gives him the New Balances and puts on another pair of shoes, and this kid takes the teacher's shoes home. He wants to do a good job, so he's watching tutorials on YouTube, he borrows his cousin's shoe cleaning kit, he goes to town. Well, he brings those shoes back looking brand spanking new. "Yo, these are nice. Can you clean the shoes I actually care about though?" And just like that, word spreads fast. By next week, this kid's got a folded up table in the corner of the lunchroom with a sign that says, "Sneaker Shine, $5 for basic, $10 for premium." He brought in toothbrushes to scrub the stuff, he had suede brushes to keep that suede looking fresh, and he had like sneaker whitening pens. By week 3, some of the football players are giving him their cleats after practice for him to clean. By week 4, he's got some teachers that are giving him their shoes. And by week 5, this kid is shining shoes during class, doing algebra with one hand and scrubbing Vans with the other. Business was absolutely booming. Well, one teacher, who's kind of lame, reported him for running an unauthorized business. The principal pulled him aside and said, "Look, you're not in trouble. Just don't make a mess, keep it quiet, and bring your rates down for school staff. For you, Mr. Johnson, you got it. And for you, always free." He made $800 in 2.5 months. Eventually, after a while, it did get out of hand and he had to stop. But by that point, he had a huge clientele, and he started his own website. You gotta respect the hustle. "Oh my god, I puked in the garbage." This kid figured out that if you puked at school, they had to send you home. So one day, this kid wanted to get out of math class, so he brings a Ziploc bag to school. Well, the Ziploc bag was filled with chicken noodle soup, mashed bananas, and a splash of orange Gatorade. He walks into math class holding his stomach. "Oh gosh." Then, right before the math test begins, "I think I'm gonna be sick." He runs to the garbage can, throws his head in there, and secretly dumps out the Ziploc bag. Oh my god, he threw up. Oh my god. Go to the nurse. Go home. I'm gonna call the janitor to get this garbage out of here. His Ziploc puke bag concoction looked like actual vomit. The teacher didn't want anything to do with it. His plan worked. Well, a couple days later, 3 other kids got sick, all using the exact same method. Turns out this freaking kid was selling pre-filled throw-up bags for $10 each and keeping them in his locker. Premium puke mix, $10, looks real and smells real. Step right up, step right up. He almost made $150 in a single week, but one kid kind of overdid it. "Oh my god, I'm gonna puke," and threw the entire puke bag on the teacher's desk. Bro, what is this? The school caught on, a bunch of kids got in super big trouble, and this whole thing was shut down. But still, disgusting, brilliant, profitable, you gotta respect the hustle. He made bank at school. It started in 7th grade, when one kid noticed the same thing every single week. Somebody forgot their lunch, somebody's card got declined, or somebody just straight up didn't eat. And every single time, they'd beg their friends for food or snacks at the table, and their friends are like, "No bro, get your own." Listen, I've been there. So this kid started a business, $5 a month. And if your lunch ever fell through, he would spot you, no questions asked. So he started carrying a backpack full of basic lunch foods. A bunch of PB&Js, chips, granola bar, juice boxes, nothing fancy, but it was food. He called this business Lunch Insurance. Brilliant. People laughed at him at first. "Yo, this is a dumb business, dude." "Oh, you think so? Just you wait." But during that first week of business, 4 kids needed this. Hey, remember when I called your idea dumb? First of all, I'm sorry. Second of all, I forgot my lunch again, and I think I'm just gonna subscribe to the service. Oh, okay. By month 2, he had 22 subscribers, and now he had tiers. Bronze tier got you a basic fix of food. Basic PB&J, basic granola bar, basic juice box. The silver tier came with kind of upgraded items. Be a salami sandwich, a Capri Sun instead of a basic juice box, and maybe he throw in a Nutter Butter or something. And gold tier had even better items, and on top of that, hot Cheetos. He had a clipboard and a list. This guy was official. And guess what, my friends? Business was absolutely booming. Eventually, a teacher saw him divvying out snacks to people. She thought it was a black market. Well, the kid explained it. Clipboard, the tiers, lunch insurance, customer feedback. The teacher just stared at him and said, "You might be a genius, but stop with the hot Cheetos, okay? Those are banned at our school." And he did switch out the food. Instead of hot Cheetos, now he had Sun Chips, garden salsa, harvest cheddar. He was doing it right. By April, he had over 60 paying subscribers, and even a couple teachers on the list. His total revenue? $2,700. You gotta respect the hustle. It was said with a straight face, it is not mathematically possible for you to pass this class. It was senior year, the final semester. This kid was failing calculus so bad that looking at his grades made him want to puke. Yeah, he messed up, he didn't do a lot of the homework assignments, he didn't study for a lot of the tests, but now the year's almost over, and if he doesn't pass this class, he doesn't graduate. So one day, he walks up to the teacher and asks her this, "Hey miss, is there still a chance I could pass this class at all?" The teacher just says this, "Well, Stephen, at this point, I don't think it's mathematically possible for you to pass this class." "Are you sure about this?" "Well, I'm a calculus teacher, so yeah, I'm sure." Well, despite this information, this kid still busted his butt for the last month of school. Paid attention in class, asked a bunch of questions, studied for the final, got a C on the final. And guess what happens? He gets his final grade, and it's a 60%. That's a D, and that is still passing. The teacher saw his effort that last month of school and bumped his grade up for him. And after the final grades were posted, this teacher emailed him. All the email said was, "Sometimes math isn't about the numbers, it's about the effort." Honestly, you gotta respect that teacher. He opened his lunch, looked inside, and oh God, he was starving. He missed breakfast this day, he had a packed lunch, and he couldn't wait for his lunch period. He'd been counting down all morning. Well, it's finally his lunch. He sits down, he opens his lunch bag, and what? Yeah, first thing he sees, a container of cold chicken and sauerkraut. Next to it was a weird mustard packet, like one of those from the deli, a Ziploc full of cherry tomatoes, and a boiled egg, just loose, in the lunch bag, floating around. No salt, no napkin, nothing. What? Are you good, homie? I grabbed my dad's lunch. He packs it up, he doesn't eat, doesn't say a word for the rest of lunch. Carries the bag with him all day, and then after school, he goes home, and he walks into his kitchen. "Dad, what even is this?" "Ah, it's my lunch." "Yeah, I was wondering why I had yours." "Dude, it's nasty. It smells like vinegar, and there's just an egg in there, loose." "Hey, that's a good egg." "No, Dad, that's a sad egg. A very sad egg." And from that day forward, he made sure to triple check his lunches every morning before school. Honestly, I think that dad's lunch didn't sound too bad. Myself. It started with one kid and a toaster. One day, this one kid brings a toaster to school, like an actual toaster. He plugged it into the wall outlet by the lockers and began making Pop-Tarts before first period. "Morning, bro, what you doing?" "Oh, I'm making my breakfast. S'mores Pop-Tarts today." "Is that your toaster?" "Absolutely." Well, this pre-class breakfast situation began to grow pretty quickly. By the next week, different groups of kids had brought in their own toaster. They were cooking up Eggos, jelly toast. People were bringing flasks of syrup. One kid brought in one of those electric flat iron stoves. Soon, every morning throughout the school, there were entire breakfast zones, each zone cooking a different breakfast item. And it was kinda awesome. These zones were behind the bleachers, in the band room, in a corner of the library. Teachers were finding pancake batter in the sinks. It was a mess. Well, quickly, the school shut it all down. But the smell of cinnamon lingered for a while. Then, my friends, on the last day of school, during morning announcements, which they always had a student do, people heard this. Oh my God. Did you guys smell that? The sound was the sizzling of bacon coming through the intercom in every room of the school, and people were beginning to smell the bacon. And right before they were able to turn off the intercom, everybody heard this. "You can never take our breakfast. Long live breakfast." That kid wanted to end the year a legend, so he cooked bacon on the intercom. to get back at the school for shutting down their breakfast clubs. On Monday, Mr. Davis said, "Bring a towel and wear old clothes on Friday, class." No explanation, that was it. And the rumors start instantly. "Bro, we're painting." "No, guys, we're making slime." One kid remembers seeing a package of unfilled water balloons in a Walgreens bag sitting on Mr. Davis's desk. No, guys, listen to me. It's water balloons. That seemed like the most reasonable explanation, and kids got hyped. By Friday, everyone's ready. One kid brings a change of clothes, one kid's wearing goggles, most of the class is in their swimsuits. They're super hyped. Well, they get in Mr. Davis's class and they walk outside. There's water balloons everywhere, buckets full of them, and the weather's perfect. This is a dream come true. Yes. Literally a dream. Imagine a water balloon fight in the middle of school day. That's when Mr. Davis says this. "All right, class, today we are studying projectile motion." Huh? Each of you will take turns throwing one water balloon at that wall right there. Then we'll log your trajectory data and calculate your angles. That's it. It's an actual frickin' lesson. One by one, kids are launching water balloons at this blank wall. One kid really wanted to splash someone, so he fake stumbles and accidentally pops a balloon on one of his classmates. Oops. That felt nice. Hey, no fooling around. That's a 0 for both of you. Now, they were never promised a water balloon fight, but they built themselves up and they truly believed it. He got punched on purpose and his plan worked. In 7th grade, this one kid, Zach, had been dealing with this guy named Tyler for a while now, and Tyler was a piece of work. He was loud, annoying, and constantly trying to get a rise out of Zach. Well, the thing is, Zach never let it get to him. He never shouted back. He never did anything mean to him. He didn't fight. He just waited. Until one Friday at dismissal, Zach saw his way. He sees Tyler standing over there by a locker, and he decides to enact his plan. It's time. Oh, hey, yo! He walks by Tyler and softly and accidentally bumps him in the shoulder. Yo, what is your deal? Well, Tyler snaps, and all Zach does is stand there. Say something. He doesn't, and that makes him very mad. He then winds up and punches Zach right in the face. You know what, dude? Well, Zach stumbles back, throws up his hands like he's gonna fight back, but then he just says, "Time out, time out, time out. Yeah, you just punched me in the face, man. I'm not gonna fight you back, though." Everyone's like, "Yo, what? Guys, I didn't hit him, right? Huh? Look, he hit me. I didn't hit him." Security rolls up, so does the principal. "No, he bumped into me. He was gonna fight me." "No, it's a crowded hallway. I didn't even touch you. You punched me." "What happened? We were fighting. Both of us." "What happened?" "He punched me. I never swung." Zach didn't do anything. Tyler did. They looked at the cameras and everything checked out. Tyler was suspended for 3 days and Zach got nothing. The next day somebody asked Zach, "Yo, dude, was that your plan the entire time?" "What can I say? I played chess." And that was his way of getting back at his bully without lifting a finger. Genius. At Logan's house, there was one rule. Don't go near the piano room, ever. His mom said it was off limits for emotional reasons. His dad called it a sacred space. And anytime a guest walked past the room, the family would act weird. "Nothing to see in this room." One time, Logan's friend leaned on the door and the mom freaked out. So I was thinking that we can go to the, Hey! Well, that night during the sleepover, Logan admitted something. "Yo, I've actually never been in the room myself either." "You've never been in that room?" "No." Well, around 2 a.m., Logan's friend who was sleeping over just couldn't handle it anymore, so he got up and he snuck to the piano room. And then he opened the door. And that's when we saw it. Logan's dad was inside wearing a tuxedo, sitting at a grand piano, his fingers hovering above the keys. He wasn't playing, his fingers were just doing this. He then said, "Get out of here and close the door." Okay. He slammed the door shut and went back to sleep. He later found out that Logan's dad had a very weird obsession with grand pianos, and apparently that time of night was his sacred time. So, I don't know, super weird.
Montu! Hey, Montu! Hey, Montu! আমি তো অনাথ হয়ে গেছি গে একেবারে মনে করে আমার বাপে আমারে এটা কেমন বাটপারি হ্যাঁ তোমার আব্বা না খুব কান্দানি আমারে কইছিল কাশি খাওয়া মনে আরে বললা
সকাল সকাল তুমি আয়া পড়ছো চিল্লা কেমতে
কি হইছে হ্যাঁ আর থেকে আমনে পর দেখে দেখতেছি ফোনের পিছে লাগা রইছো
মুনবাজান তোরা আর একটা বুদ্ধি দিতাছি
কি হইছে বাবার কি
তুমি যদি একটা মাস পরে আইতা তাহলে দেখতা আমার আব্বা আনাম খাসিটা পাকে তোমার সামনে রেখা দিত
খানদান নাকি খানদান গো চিনা লাগে নাকি চোখ বন্ধ করে হারবার পাচ্ছি আয়া পড়ছি
দরকার আছে দরকার স্যার আমি কি ফোনে কথা কই নাকি এই এটা খায়রা কি করতাছো যাও না নিচে যাও কি হইছে বাজার
কি হয়েছে? এই সব আমি পারুম না, আমার দরকার হলে ঘর।
আচ্ছা, যা হবার হয়েছে বুঝছো, সারাদিন যে ধকলটা গেছে গা,
নিচে ঘুমা।
আজ নামনের বাসুর ভাই আপনি
আপনার ঘরে
তুমি তো আমার পিলার চমকাই দিচ্ছ বাবা।
কি যে কন্যা আব্বা, মাত্র তো আসমানের চাঁদ লাগা।
কিন্তু তুমি তো বিয়ার পর দিনই আইয়া হাজির, তো রসুনটা একটু চেঞ্জ হয়েছে আর কি।
আসমানের চাঁদ লয়া এরকম বাসর ঘরে আহে, তখন রাজা বাদশা গুলা হান।
তুমি এই পোশাক কখনই চেঞ্জ করে আইবা, নালে কইলাম আমি তোমার আমার লগে থাকতে দিব না। আইসা আলগা খানদানি রেওয়াজ দেখে।
তোমার কত বড় সাহস, তুমি আমার মাথায় বাড়ি দিবা? এই আমি কি করছি? বাজান কি এইটা কাম করছে নি? আপনার মতো হীরার টুকরা একটা পোলারে লাথি দিয়ে বাইর করে দিচ্ছে।
দিমু একটা ঠুয়া, আমি পারুম না। এই বেটা, এই আমগো খানদানে পূর্বপুরুষেরা
তো কি টিপে পড়লা?
লাগলে হেডাও টিপা দিমু। তুমি বরং আমার হাতটা ব্যথা করতেছে, হাতটা টিপা দাও।
আরে এখানে হান্দাবার লাগছস কে? একটু ওদিকে নে না। তোমার বিছানা আমি ভিজায়া দিছি গা।
এটা তুমি কি করছো?
কি করছি, ঘুমাইবা না?
তোমার পূর্বপুরুষের মাথায় কি সমস্যা ছিল আব্বা?
নাটকের পর কয় কি শুনছো? ওই বেটা
আব্বা জান, আপনার পোলার এখন জিগান তো রুটি গরম না ঠান্ডা?
বাপরে বাপ, শুনছো নি? একেবারে ডর দেয় তো বলে কুচি কুচি করে কাটতো হয়েছে। আপনার ডর আপনার পকেটে থুয়া দেন।
খানদানটা আমার কত উচ্চা দেখতে হইব না?
দেখতেছি তো, উঁচা ভি আর লম্বা ভি।
তোমার এই অবস্থা কেলা?
আসলে আব্বা, ও আব্বা, আব্বা
আচ্ছা, যা হবার হয়েছে বুঝছো, সারাদিন যে ধকলটা গেছে গা। মন্টু, হ্যাঁ মন্টু, হ্যাঁ মন্টু।
আমি তো অনাথ হয়ে গেছি গে, একেবারে মনে করেন আমার বাপে আমারে।
এটা কেমন বাটপারি? হ্যাঁ, তোমার আব্বা না খুব কান্দানি, আমারে কইছিল কাশি খাওয়া।
বাজান, আরে সকাল সকাল তুমি আয়া পড়ছো, চিল্লা কেমতে?
কি হয়েছে? হ্যাঁ, আর ওর থেকে অনেক পর দেখে দেখতেছি ফোনের পিছিয়ে লাগা রইছো।
বাজান, তোরা আর একটা বুদ্ধি দিতাছি।
কি হয়েছে আব্বা? আবার কি?
আগে সব কথা হই না লই, তারপর তুই খালাসে যাবি। কব মা
গেটে দুটো বাইর করে দিচ্ছিলাম।
ল তোর গাড়টি বুঝ ল। সারা জিন্দেগি আমগো খানদানের সত্ত্বে